What's up guys, Blue here, and today I will be showing you how to build a tank. So this tank tutorial is meant for anyone really, like beginners to experts or anyone in between. So no matter what your building skill is, you can build this. So this tank was based off of the Leopard tank, but it's been slightly simplified just for the sake of a tutorial aimed at beginners. So this tank has basically everything that like a pretty basic tank would need. It has suspension, it's got like guns on it, it's got missiles, and a working spinning turret. And it works pretty well actually for a basic tank. But enough of the features, let's get right to the tutorial. Okay, so first, go to blocks and select the block and place 1. And then go to half blocks, select the block, and then rotate it so it's upside down and place 1 there, and then 2 on each side of the half block. So now you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total. Then delete that block and then go to wedges, half wedge, make sure it's facing forwards like this, and then place them in a row on top of those half blocks. So it should look like this. Then take the half wedge and rotate it like that so it's upside down, and place 1 there like that, and 1 over here like that. And then go to half blocks, select the half wedge, rotate it like that, and put it right there underneath the half wedge. And same thing for this side. Then go to the gear section, select the disconnector, and rotate it so the peg faces forwards, and then place 1, 2, just like that. And then do it on this side too. Then go to half blocks, select the half wedge down 1 by 2, and then you're gonna go behind here, place 1 behind this middle block, and then place 1 on top of that. And you can delete this one, and then place 1, 2, and 1, 2. So now there's 5, and they should line up with those front wedges, and it should look really smooth. And then place 2 that are 1 block in front of those, so it lines up with those front pieces. And do this for both sides. Then go to half blocks, select the half beam, and rotate it so it points backwards. Then you're going to place 1 right there, and then place 2 more behind it. So that would be 1, 2, 3. So 3 total. And then do that again right there. 1, 2, 3. And then same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then right in the middle, you're going to place 1. And then on both sides, place 1. And then place 1, 2, 1, 2. So it should look like this. So half beam, half beam, half beam. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then go to wedges and select the wedge and rotate it so it's upside down and facing forwards like that. Then you're going to count from the front. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the 4th spot, place it. So there should be 3 blocks of gap space right here. Then go to blocks, beam 1 by 7, place it right behind that wedge, like that. And then go to blocks, select the block, place 1, 2, 3, then go back to wedges, select the wedge, rotate it so it faces backwards now, and then place it behind that. So it should be like that. So wedge, 1 by 7 beam, 1, 2, 3 blocks, and then wedge. And then do that on the other side too. So 1, 2, 3, 4 wedge, then 1 by 7 beam behind that, then 1, 2, 3 blocks, then backwards wedge. And then go to cylinders and select the cylinder 2 2x2. And then like hover over right here in the middle so it just fits right in, just like that. and it will float off the ground a little bit. It's supposed to do that. So it should look like this. And then select that again, and then place one as close to this one right here as you can, but on the ground, just like that. So it should kind of look like a 1 block gap, and your character should kind of fit like this in between, just for reference. So then you're going to place 3 more after this one. So 1, 2, 3. So now there should be 1 high up cylinder and then 4 cylinders on the ground. Then put another cylinder, but it's going to be up 1 off the ground, just like that front one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total. And 4 should be on the ground, 2 of them should be a bit higher. And then do this on the other side too. So right in the middle, a bit up high, and then as close as you can get it to that right one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1 higher up. And if you kind of aim for the top of this cylinder, it lets you place it higher up. Otherwise, if that isn't working, just count 1, 2, 3, and then up 1, and then cylinder 2 by 2, or 2 by 2, and then place it. Then you can delete that. And then go to the gears, select the motor, and then you have to place them right on the middle, on the back side of each wheel. So right there in the middle, and make sure they're facing inwards, like so the peg faces to the left, otherwise this won't work. So do this for each one of them. These ones you place on the ground because they're low down, and then right in the middle on that back one. Then you do the same thing for this side, but make sure to rotate the motor so it faces the correct direction. So the peg on it should face to the left, like that. Then on the middle there, and then on the ground for these 4, and then back up again. So that motor should be touching this wheel and that little wedge right there, just like that. Then select the configure tool and select this front motor. So for this you have to be very careful here, because if the controls aren't exactly right, then the tank isn't going to drive correctly. So A for backward and W for forward, and then 20 for the speed, and max torque, drag that all the way up to 1,000. And if for some reason this drag bar isn't working, you can just type in 1,000 manually. Then you can press C to copy, and you'll know you copied if this little thing lights up, the letter C. Otherwise, if it isn't, just click it right here a couple times to make sure you've copied it. Then X out of that, click on the next motor, and paste by pressing V or this button here. You're going to do that for each of these motors on this side, all of these 6. So you have it pasted there, it's pasted there, then paste here, 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 and here. And then also paste it into this front one, but only this front motor, because we have to change these keybinds. So now the keybinds are going to be W, D, and then copy that, and then paste that into each of these, the remaining 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like that. And then go to the gears, select suspension, and make sure it's upwards like that, and then place it only behind the middle 4 motors on each side. So these 4 and these 4, not the higher wheels. So just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. Then go to the gear section again and scroll down a little bit, just like that, and select the rope and place it behind each of those suspension pieces that you just placed. Just like that. So now you should have a total of 8 suspension pieces and 8 rope pieces. Then you're going to go to blocks, select the block, and then walk up to the front here, and then on top of this front rope, place one block and then two more behind it. So that would be one right there, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 for that side. Then once you do that, go to blocks, 1x7, and place a 1x7 beam behind those blocks you just placed. And then they should perfectly align on top of these rope pieces. Then go to half blocks, half block, and place 1, 2 in that little gap there. So now the gap should look like this sort of shape, just like that. So there should be a 2 block gap there now. And then go to the gears, motors, select motor 2. Make sure it's facing forwards just like this. That little peg should face forwards, point that way. And place it right there. Then go to half blocks, select the half beam, and rotate it so it points backwards and so that it is on the lower part of the block. And then place it right behind that motor. Then click the half block, select it, and fill in these gaps just like that. So there should be 6 pieces there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that should be completely smooth. Then go to wedges, select the half wedge, and then rotate it so it faces forwards and the arrow would be facing backwards, and place them right along here in a row. Just like that. Then go to blocks, select the beam 1x4 and rotate it so it's like that, sideways, and then place one here and here. So there's a 1 block gap in the middle. And then go to blocks, select the block, and place it right in the middle there. And then you're going to place 2 more 1x4 beams right behind the ones you just placed, and then 2 blocks in the middle there. And then select wedges 2, round wedge out, and have it so it faces backwards. And then place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So all the way except on those corners there. Then you're going to press T 3 times, just like that. So now it faces up and backwards. And you're going to place those on top of those round wedge out pieces that you just placed. Then press R twice to rotate it, and then place them all across here. So it kind of creates this circle shape. Then go to wedges, select the half wedge, and rotate it so it points downwards like that. So the wide bit is on the bottom there. Then you're going to place one right there, rotate it like that, and then there. So it's right in that little spot there. It kind of lines up with these 2 parts, just like that. Then go to blocks, select the block, and place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then go to half blocks, select the half wedge, rotate it so it's upside down and pointing to the, or facing the bottom left, and then place it right under that half wedge, and then rotate it and right under the other half wedge. Then select the half block and fill in this gap here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like that. And go to blocks, scroll down, select the ladder, and rotate it so it's like this. So that middle piece is vertical. Then go to where this wedge is and count starting from the wedge 1, 2, and place a ladder. Then you're going to place more behind that ladder until there's a 1 block gap in between the wedge and the ladder, just like that. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So 1 block gap right there, and place them going all the way back until there's a 1 block gap there. Then come to the front and configure this first disconnector right here and set it to W. Copy that and then paste that into each of the other disconnectors. Then go on top here and select the main pilot seat and place it so that it's facing forwards, just like that. Then go to blocks, select the block, and then place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks, just like that, right in front of the main pilot seat. Then go to wedges, select the wedge, and rotate it so that it's pointing forwards like that, and then place it on the front of all those blocks. Then go to wedges and select the triangle wedge and rotate it so it's positioned just like this. And you want to make sure it's exactly like this, otherwise it isn't going to look right on the tank. Then place one here, and then another one diagonal from it, and then a third one diagonal from that. Then do this same thing on the other side so that it's symmetrical. So rotate it so it's like that, and then place 1, 2, 3, just like that. Then go to wedges 2 and scroll down a little ways and select the triangle wedge block. This piece will go in between those triangle wedges so that it smoothly goes across diagonally and makes the tank look good. So make sure it's rotated like this, so the indent is on the front left side, and then place them in the gaps, so 1, 2, just like that. Do the same thing on the other side, just rotate the block, and then place 1, 2, just like that. Then you're going to flip it right side up, just like that, and then place it on top of those two pieces you just placed. And then same thing for the other side, so rotate the piece around and put it on top of those two pieces. Then go back to wedges, select the triangle wedge, and put triangle wedges on top of the other triangle wedges you placed earlier. Same thing for the other side, just rotate it and then place it. Then go to wedges, scroll down to the wedge beam, select it, and then rotate it so it's positioned just like that, so that it's facing to the left. Then place it behind this lower piece, and then same thing on the other side, so just rotate it and then put it behind that piece, and then select the wedge and make sure it's facing the same way and place 1, 2, 3. And same thing on the other side, so rotate it and then 1, 2, 3. Then go to blocks, select the block, and place 2 blocks right here at the back of these wedges, at the end of them on the inside. And then go back to blocks, select the beam 1x4, rotate it so it's flat on the ground like that, and then place them right there. So this should fill in a bit of space behind the main pilot seat. Then we just have to fill in these gaps here that I'm standing in, these 2 spots. So select blocks, and then put a block there, a block there, block there, block there, block there, and a block there. Then select the beam 1x4, rotate it so it's facing backwards, and then fill in those gaps with it, just like that. Then go to wedges, select the half wedge, and make sure it's rotated just like this, so that it points backwards, like it faces backwards, and the arrow should face forwards. Then place them all along the back here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that. And then go to half blocks, select the half block, make sure it's upside down, like that, and then place 1, 2, 3, just like that. And then bring those all the way across here, so it lines up with those half wedges you just placed, just like that. Then go to half blocks and select the half wedge down, and make sure it's rotated like that so it's upside down and facing the left. Then place 1, 2, 3, just like that, so they fit right in there, but not one on this last bit, and then the same thing on the other side. So rotate the block so it faces the opposite direction, and then place 1, 2, 3. Then go back to half blocks, select the half triangle wedge, and make it so it's upside down and facing like this, just like that. And then place it in the corner here, and then go around to the other side, rotate it like that, and place it in the other corner. Then go to wedges, select the wedge, rotate it so it's on its side like that, and then place it right on top of that triangle wedge, and And same thing on the other side, just rotate the wedge and place it on top. Then go to wedges 2, select the triangle wedge block, and then rotate it just like that. So it's kind of angled in that sort of direction. Then place it right behind this triangle wedge, just like that, so it should be completely smooth, like that. And then do the same thing on the other side. So rotate it around so it matches this side and place it right there, so it's completely smooth. Then go to blocks, select the block, place one behind each of those triangle wedge blocks, and then select the beam 1x4, rotate it so it faces backwards and it is flat against the ground, just like that, and then place it behind each of those blocks. And then place another one behind each of those beams. Then go to cylinders, select the cylinder, rotate it so it's on its side like that, facing forwards, and then place one right here, so it's 2 blocks in, and then another one, and then 2 more from there. So there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, all like this in a line. And then go to wedges, select the wedge, and make it so it faces upside down and backwards, just like that. And then place it right behind those cylinders, and then rotate it twice, so it faces forwards now, but still facing down. And place it right behind that wedge, just like that. Then go to the gear section, go to motors, select motor 2, and then rotate the motor so it's on its side and the peg faces forwards. And the flat side should be on the right, just like that. And the peg should face forwards. Then go up here and place it right there in that spot, right next to that first wedge. And then configure it, set the speed to 3, keep the max torque at 100, and set the max angle to 40. Then go to blocks and select the block that says block 1 times 0.9. And we need this block because if you look carefully, one side is slightly shorter than the other, which means blocks can't attach to that one short side. So then we gotta rotate it so the short side is on the left, and then place it right next to this wedge at the front here. So if you look carefully, you can see a little gap between this wedge and this block. And that's so this wedge doesn't connect to this block, so the gun at the front can move up and down freely. Then go to the gear section, select the disconnector, and rotate it so it's flat like that, facing up. Same thing for that side right there, on top of that 1.09 block. You can then configure both of them and set them to W, just like that. Then go to the gear section again, PvP weapons, select the rocket, make sure it faces forwards like that, and place it right in front of those 4 cylinders, just like that. Then select the gun, make sure it faces forwards, so the little yellow peg should face forwards, just like that, and place them right in front of this rocket. So 1, 2, 3, just like that. So now that will be the turret for your tank. Then go to blocks, select the block, place 1, 2, 3, then select the beam 1x4, make sure it faces like flat and backwards like that, place it right behind the main pilot seat, and then select the block again and put 2 right behind it. So it should be a straight line going all the way through the middle of this top part of the tank. Then select blocks, select the block, and place 2 on each side, just like that. And then select the beam 1x7, make sure it's flat like that, going on its side. And then fill in these spots right here with them. Then select the block again and fill in the remaining space here, just like that. So now your tank should be all filled in right here, just like that, and you should have the front gun completed. Then go to the back here, and then select half blocks, half wedge, and then make sure it's rotated just like that, so it's facing backwards, and then place it right on the back of these half wedges, or half blocks on the back here, just like that. Then go back to half blocks, select the half wedge down, and make it so it's rotated just like that. So it's pointing upwards and is facing back. Then go place 5 of these right on top of those pieces you just placed. So now it has a nice back to it. Then scroll down and select the ladder, and then make sure it's rotated just like this, so just like how we placed them earlier. And then place them 1 block off of the end here. So there's this 1 block space right here. You're gonna move over 1 and then place 3 total. So 1, 2, 3 with a 1 block space right there. And then rotate it and do the same thing on the other side. So 1 block gap, then 1, 2, 3, just like that. Then go on the top here and then go to the light bulb section, select the trap door, and then rotate it so it's flat on the ground and the little black peg should be towards the front. And then go back to the top here and place it right on top of the main pilot seat, just like that. Then you're going to want to configure this and set the open close keybind to T and set the lock keybind to something you won't press. So I'm just going to use 0 because I usually don't press that. Then go to blocks, go to half blocks, select the half block, then rotate it so it's just flat on the ground. Then place them behind the trapdoor in a plus shape, just like that. Then go back to half blocks, select the half block wedge, rotate it so it's flat on the ground, and then facing kind of diagonally to the side like that. And these are going to go in the corners of this cross shape. So rotate it around and place them in all the spots like that. Then delete these 2 half blocks right here, go to wedges, half wedge, and then rotate it so it's facing off to the side like that. And then place it in those 2 spots, and then rotate it for this side. So it should look just like that. Then go to half blocks, select the half block, make sure it's flat on the ground, just like that, and then place it right here. So if you count from this block right here, this wedge block, you go back 1 and in 1, just like that. And then go to half blocks, select the half wedge down, rotate it so it faces backwards, or so it points backwards, and then place it right behind that half wedge, or that half block, just like that. Then select your configure tool, and then go down here and select this motor right in between the top part of the tank and the lower part. So select that, and set the speed to 3, and put the max torque all the way up to 1,000. And once again, if you can't drag this little piece, you can just manually type in 1,000, that works too. Now the entire tank is done, all we have left to do is paint it. So select your paint tool, and first we're going to do the main body color. So type in 50 for the first number, 70 for the second number, and 0 for the third number. This will give you sort of a dark greenish color. Then select the paint bucket tool, and then click on your tank. Then it should turn completely dark green. Then select that paint bucket tool again, which will now look like a check mark. And then it should go back to normal, looking like a paint bucket. Then now we're going to type in our next color. So change this 70 to a 60 now, and this will be your second color. So with this color, you kind of just randomly drag your mouse all over the tank and to like give it sort of a camouflage look. You can also change this for different colors if you want. If you don't really want like a greenish one, you can do that too. But I'm just doing this because this is the most common color. So you do that all over your tank, just get a bunch of dark green all over it. Then you're gonna type in 0, 0, and there's already a 0 there, so you don't have to type it. And this will be for the wheels. So just click on each of the wheels, and it will turn black. And do it for this side too. And then we want these wheels to have some extra grip, so they're better for going over terrain. So go to materials, click materials again, select fabric, and then click on each of the wheels again. So you'll notice they have a fabric look to them. This makes it so they have more grip or more friction on the terrain or anything it drives on, just so it functions better as it drives. Then go back to colors, by selecting that little color button, and then type in 75, 75, 75. This should give you a sort of darkish gray color, and then you're going to paint each of these ladders. So be careful when you paint these because it's very sensitive of where you place it, because if you get slightly off, you'll end up painting the block behind it, which is not what you want to do. So a trick I use is to kind of angle it so you can only see the ladders, and then hold click here and just drag all the way down. And it should paint most of or all of your ladders, just like that. And you can get any of the ones you miss. And then for this one, you don't really have to do it because there's only 3, so just be careful when painting it. And then do the same thing on the other side. So get these 3, and then angle it, and drag your mouse all the way down. And there you go. Okay, so to control this thing, it's pretty easy. So at first when you press W, some of the pieces of the disconnectors will fall off. That's supposed to happen. I just use those for detail, so those should fall off. And now to control it, it's pretty easy. So W to go forwards, hold A to go left, hold D to go right. But to go backwards, you can't hold S because that won't do anything. You have to hold A and D at the same time, and then you will reverse. So then of course, you can hold W and A or W and D at the same time to turn and keep going forwards. And then you can aim the turret with your mouse. It aims up and down and all sides and stuff. It has the gun on the front. And if you hold click, you can shoot, and if you press F, it will fire the missile. And that's just about it for the controls. So it works pretty well on terrain. It's got, fabric in the wheels, so it grips better. And I haven't tested it in PvP, but it should do pretty well in PvP because it has enough blocks to hold itself together, and it's got enough weapons too. So I think this is a pretty cool tank just for a beginner or even if you're an expert, and it's pretty nice to use just in general for showing off to your friends or PvP battles or experimenting, whatever you want to do with it. But overall, I think it's a pretty good tank. Well, that's all for today. See ya!